People, deluded, I'm back again. I see that we're live now. Good evening. I hope you're all doing well and safe. I'm pretty sure some of you are sick of seeing my face. At least I had Curtis on earlier. Please make sure you not only subscribe to my channel, but Curtis Shaw TV as well. And you also look out for my other previous live streams. Because I spoke about Szoboszlai today. Me and Curtis Shaw spoke in relation to Burnley, so make sure you check that out. I hope you're all doing well and safe. I hope you've already hit the like button for this live stream, and if you don't want to miss the next one, please check out the pinned message. Tomorrow we go again. We'll preview the Arsenal versus Burnley game a bit more in depth with a bit more emotion attached to it, because right now I'm not going to cap. It's Friday. You know, I work hard all week, and I'm sure you will do as well. I'm kind of calm. I want to be in positive vibes. I don't want to be dealing with, are we going to create certain individuals who keep putting in woeful performances continuing to play? Let's deal with that on Saturday. Let's see what happens on Sunday, people. That being said, please make sure, like I said, you're hitting the like button early doors. Please make sure you open up another tab. You quickly hit the like button on my next live stream, and also the reminder tab. And I know YouTube's been doing a lot of you guys dirty in a sense of you set your reminders and all sorts, and it doesn't give you anything. So I'm going to look at a workaway around that, but YouTube are not trying to have me have any joy. Like Jay said, round 3, third and final lap, my guy. Third and final lap. Big up everyone, wherever you are, whoever you are. I really appreciate you international DG viewers as well. You're watching from LA. Respect to you, my guy. Pardon me. It's been a rainy day over here in North London. I'm pretty sure in LA the weather must be better, so it is what it is. Big up yourself, Mohammed, man. Thank you for doing that. And once again, like M said, early doors, touch the like button on the way in. It doesn't mean much. But like I said, I'm going to talk in relation to the Burnley game. We'll get more into it tomorrow in tomorrow's live stream and in depth. But we all know what Arsenal's been at the moment. Typically, long story short, not enough players are putting in pride. And as much pride as we're showing in that we're still here speaking about Arsenal, you're still here listening. There's no effort. There's no desire. There's no one that's really, obviously there's a couple of individuals, but there's no one that's really trying to make a name for themselves and grab a shirt, whether that be certain fullbacks, certain centre midfielders, whatever. There's very few individuals that are actually trying to do that. So with that being said, you want to see, we heard stuff about non-negotiables. We heard stuff about everyone's got to work hard in training and take your chances in the match. And I get that. That's all I want to hear. But when I look at the buzzwords and the good sentences and sounding the part versus what's actually happening, and doesn't fill me with joy. I personally would like more young players to get chances. Let me just state that a lot of people that are crying for young players to start, you need to comprehend that we're going to be less competitive potentially than we already are. These players are going to have hot and cold games. Everybody's hyping up Smith Rowe, and rightly so. That man, I believe in the immediate future, he could be a bit like Grealish for us in that wide creative midfield role if we're not going to play with an out-and-out 10. Obviously, if we're playing with that creative midfielder, there's him. But do you not remember Everton away last year where he really should have got hooked? We don't know what we're going to get between him in 10 games. We don't know what we're going to get from Balogun. Don't know what we're going to get from the rest of them. To be fair, you don't know what you're going to get from the experienced players. My point being, be very careful before you label players as this, that, and the other. Because I really hate how fans are very quick to hype someone, and then that same energy, they use it to tear a man down. That being said, like I said at the start, we're not seeing enough pride in the shirt. We're not seeing enough work ethic. We're not seeing enough hunger. We're not seeing enough desire. These young players are showing it. And I don't think every young player has to start, but I do think some should be in and around the team. Maitland-Niles for me, big up to Cedric. And, it's not always the young players. People like Cedric, you don't understand why he's not playing. Not that he's been amazing, but Bellerin's not nailed that down. And Cedric on the right-hand side, obviously Maitland-Niles on the left-hand side, had a good game within the context of the Europa League. So then obviously we're going to ask the question. I would love Maitland-Niles, to play in the right back role. I would like Cedric to get an opportunity. If Maitland-Niles isn't going to be used at fullback, why can't we flirt between using him in midfield? In the build up to the Spurs game, that's what we were saying. Is he going to play there with an El Nene and a Partey, box to box midfielders, try and outnumber them? I think we would have had more luck with that than a Xhaka. Obviously, Reece Nelson didn't play yesterday. Sadly, happy birthday again to Reece, but he never got to feature due to a minor knock. But you're looking at him as well, again, Pepe didn't cover himself in glory, but generally we can't, for all Pepe's faults, it's not making sense when Willian is playing consistently. And I'm sure you'd all rather like someone like Nelson get opportunities. If he takes it, it's down to him, as it is with all of them. Like I said, we've got to remember these are young players and they're struggling for consistency and that they haven't been exposed to this, but they've got to take their chances when they come. That doesn't mean praise when they overpraise when they play well, or cast a man off when they play bad. That means we've got to see development. You've got to take your chances because spots are opening up. I would like to see Balogun on the bench. I would like to see him get more Premier League minutes, in the sense of, nobody's banging in attacking sense right now. We ain't really got too many options on the bench. In the little minutes he's had, I think 61 in total, he's looked to do something. And, he's at least going to run around. There's a bit of enthusiasm. The youth players, they're a bit oblivious to what's happening at first team level. Like, they're no idiots. They know the pressure on the players. They know what's happening, but they're not directly with that. So it's a bit irrelevant. And they kind of suspect that fans are going to cheer them on. So, I would love them to all get opportunities and whatnot. So like I said, Balogun for me is at least got to be on the bench. Nelson's got to be in the match day squad in some capacity, potentially to start, as long as Pepe's suspended and Williams' woeful form continues. I would like Maitland-Niles to get a look in. And in terms of the experienced players, El Nene, last week I thought, you got 60 minutes because you just come back from quarantining. Just get you a little 60 minutes, get your legs ticking over, get some little ring rust out, and then you would play against Spurs. Sadly, he didn't. He was, and I'm still of the same logic. For me, Onene needs to play at the weekend against Burnley. He got 60 minutes. I'm looking at it and hoping that he does. But, I don't know. Are we going to be back there with Xhaka? Potentially, players that are not putting in the effort right now. And then they might not be the most glamorous of players. Shout out to his goal yesterday. But he works hard and he's showing something close to consistency. So I would like to see Cedric get a chance, if not Maitland. I'd love to see El Nene get a look in as well. I feel there's young players pushing, for Emil Smith-Rowe, he's got to stay fit. The maddest thing is he's got to stay fit. There is a case to go out on loan because you ain't played too much, but he's got to stay fit. If he stays fit and he's in and around that squad, he has half a chance. It's down to Arteta to obviously be brave and play him. I feel you've got to play these young players, man, because they're going to show more than the current first teamers. And, you might get a little reaction, someone who assumes they're going to turn up and play in that 10 role. When you start Smith-Rowe, people are going to be like, oh, or hopefully they should be like, oh, what's this about? Let's fix up. But I don't know. For me, like I said, we've got to blood the academy. We've got to give them opportunities. Not everybody is going to sit here and make it. Some are going to need to be sold on for profit. I'm not too sure for starting all of them consistently in the league, obviously, because it's not the healthiest of environments for some. But they should get opportunities, man. They need opportunities, and they're taking them when they're given people. On Smith-Rowe, Arteta said yesterday he hasn't played many games, and he's playing in a position that doesn't suit him perfectly with his qualities. He's obviously talking out wide. He can play out wide, but you rob him, Smith-Rowe is better when he's central. He's driving at individuals. He's trying to play passes. Like I said, I feel short term he's a 10. I feel long term he could be that 8.5. I feel right now to get into the side, if we're not going to play with a 10, you could do that. He could do a job as an inside sort of creative player, but I'd rather in that 10. And in time, I think he can be that driving player. I don't think he's anything like Grealish, but I do think for the short, medium and long term, Grealish would be a good guide point for Smith-Rowe. And I know he says he watches Kevin De Bruyne a lot. That's what you want to hear. A long way to go before you replicate those two in the game. But yeah, if he stays fit, he can do what he can. He just needs to stay fit. He did well at Huddersfield. I didn't understand why he went on loan to Germany, to Leipzig, and I got it, but he wasn't fit to start with and injuries persisted. It was a bit silly, Is that agents doing something? I'm not too sure. But either way, we need to see. He doesn't need to feed a finished article, but they need to start. All of these players need to start kicking on a bit. Our young players, our academy is going to serve this club well. I would love our academy players to progress and become Premier League winners, but that's a fairy tale. So what it needs to do is, can we bring one or two through every now and again that they can become genuine first team players and then marry them with some outside quality? Let's see if that can happen. Like he said, and again, in Arteta's first statement, he said it there and then, that's not Smith-Rowe's best position. He probably sees him as a 10. He also said, but you can see that every time he is around the ball, something is going to happen. He has a lot of creativity. He's a player who has the quality to receive the ball and do things in areas where there are high value spaces after it gets open. So he's good at driving, So I don't see many players doing that in the first team. For me, I'm not saying Balogun needs to be thrown in. I think urge with caution. I'd say players pushing for a genuine start. Honestly, I would say Maitland-Niles. I think we should be looking to start him and Reece Nelson. If we're looking to introduce a 10, I think they've both played well considering what's happening at first team level, they should be blooded in. I feel if you're looking to go with a 10, I'd love Smith Rowe to get a look in as well. And I think Balogun's got to be in and around that bench and getting more minutes and all of these sort of things. People, Smith Rowe again. I'm not gonna. It's not the end of the world if he doesn't start, but I think he's just for me. Nelson and Maitland, like I said, I'm looking at them. Why aren't they starting? Because they've been playing well. Smith Rowe is getting to that because long term there's no creativity, and I haven't seen Smith Rowe. He's been injured, and we need to remember that. And we need to remember you need to earn your right to play. You're back to square one. He needs to get fit, and we don't always know how he is, but I haven't seen William played in that 10. I haven't seen Ozil reintegrated, and I haven't seen Smith Rowe given an opportunity, and I haven't seen somebody brought in terms of fixing the creativity. So at least in-house, Smith Rowe is an opportunity to do that, and I would love to see that happen. Not too big up Miguel Aziz, but I think you need to calm it down a bit. The man's 17, 18 years of age. Just someone who watches him on a regular basis, I think he will thrive and I think he will hold his own. But I don't think he's ready for consistent football or even to be consistently on our bench yet. But it will come, within, I'd say, give it anything from 6 to 18 months. You will hear a lot. And I do think he is the next one to come through the academy, excluding the strikers. But immediately next weekend, on the 11th, I believe, of December, going into the weekend game against Burnley, he could be on the bench by default. But yeah, again, he might be ready, but let's take your time. Just calm down, my guy. Like, calm down, because it's that sort of energy that when you see them lose a ball, as someone, the biggest improvements Miguel Aziz can make is defensively, because I've seen him give needless passes away. I've seen him try to dribble out of his box and conceding penalties. Someone that watches him on a regular basis. So let's not put any pressure on him. Let's include him in this match day squad if possible. Let him get minutes. But in relation to starting immediately in the 8 role, he can't do any worse. But let's be careful. He's 18 and there's a lot of mental aspects to consider before you consider the fact that he needs to play on a consistent basis. Saying that though, shout out to Miguel Aziz, man. He took his chances and he done that great flick. Shout out to Ben Cottrell as well. Yohan has said, yes, for me, man, between now and the end of the season, he needs to go out on loan. I think I'd understand if he stays out the campaign within Arsenal, but definitely next season he needs to go out on loan. Physically, I want to see if he can handle men's football. Based on what I've seen in the Papa John's Cup, I think he can, but he's off that level. You're not going to learn anything playing with your age mates now. It's like Balogun, 23's level, it's a graveyard. They need to either go out on loan or be given opportunities here, or design the pathway where they're going to be put in positions where they can't thrive, where they're out of their depth. That's the only way to grow. It's Miguel Aziz. I think Miguel Aziz is the same. You've got to put him in positions where he struggles, because he's very good on the ball. Put him in a position where he dwells on the ball, it gets stolen off him, where he has to think quicker. It's that now with the players. Talent is one thing. The best players especially in midfield, do the right things first. I think Ben Cottrell, I think League One would be good for him. I think he can hold himself. I think he's going to have a good future in the game. I do think, and I've got a video to come out about it, there could be a future as a left wing back for him and Amari Hutchinson, to be fair with you. Big up the young Haylen, man. At least Haylen FC is showing us something, people. Arteta also said he's a threat, and I'm really happy with his performance. On Balogun, people, Flo has done really well. Every minute he's been on that field, he's been superb. And today he looked a threat again. He scored a goal and set up another one. And he looked really lively and mature on the pitch. Eddie has started and he has the possibility to start again. He's a goal threat and he's a player that always very close in every action that is around the box. He's lively. He's got the hunger. He's only satisfied when he scores. And that's what we need now. So he's an option for sure. Again, this is what Arteta said in relation to the build-up last week. Again, I don't like how people are writing off Eddie Nketiah. I don't think Eddie Nketiah is going to be a world beater. I don't think he's going to be amazing. I think he's going to be a squad player at best, or someone that can make healthy profit for us. But I don't like the way we're turning on him, man. I do think he's got qualities that can be added. That being said, I do think if we're looking at a young G, it's Balogun, It's Balogun for me, really and truly. It's Balogun. Balogun needs to play. Like, Balogun needs to get minutes. Again, I wouldn't justify him starting, but Balogun needs to get minutes. I think Balogun's of a level to Eddie. I think Eddie's ahead of him because Eddie's been thrown into first team football and he's played more games. Balogun's got 61 minutes compared to Eddie, which Eddie's isn't amazing, but he's played a significant amount of games now to show some improvement. So yeah, man, the main thing with Balogun is that Balogun signs that new deal. And if I was him, I'd sit on my hands, because as great as the fans are, as great as Arteta might be, people, You know, if you do the maths, 3 games or so, 61 minutes. Is that enough time to develop as a professional footballer? And we all know the variables, but I'm just saying, you know, this is why if I was looking at it from a non-biased point of view, I'd probably consider sitting on my hands, people. He, in relation to Balogun's contract, he says, we've been having some discussions with the player. He knows that we want to retain him at the club, and we know that the length of his contract at the moment is an issue, but we're trying to resolve it in the best possible way. We want him to stay, and he said to me that he wants to stay at the club. So hopefully we can reach an agreement and extend his contract. And I mean, words are nothing. Man, need to see him holding the shirt and whatnot. If you lose him for free, it's an L without a doubt, because you again profit. If it became clear that the man didn't want to stay and whatnot, potentially should have taken the 5 or 6 mil, no matter how cheap it was from Brentford or Sheffield United, and obviously got a sell-on clause. So we'll have to see what happens in that regards, people. Arteta also said, these boys are pushing and pushing. You saw the performance of Eddie straight away in the first half, how committed he was. He was going for every ball, and Flo, when he came on, the same. Others the same. We have some top talent here, and we need to be a little bit patient with them, but I think we're on the right track again. For those of you wanking over Miguel Aziz and the rest of it, I don't blame you, but calm it down, be careful, because when they struggle, you're going to be the first to get onto them. Apply things with balance. Moving forward, he said, I hope it's always good to have, well, if it was a big night for many of them, he said it's always good to have games where we give them an opportunity, and they're surrounded by experienced players, which is exactly what they need. We are really happy, and I think it's a great experience for them. Now, I sympathize with Arteta first and foremost. You know, not that the experienced players are playing well, but hear me out, people. It's like you need immediate results. Again, we know young players can be hot and cold. Not that these experienced players are good, but I can tell why he would tend towards the more experienced players when there's pressure. Also, the environment isn't necessarily good for young players. So I guess I afford him that luxury when I say that I think potentially, I don't think Arteta, not that he's fond of young players, I just think his love around these young players and willingness to throw them in, I think presently is currently overstated. Now, if Arsenal was in a healthy condition both on and off the field, and we had the experienced, consistent players, you know, that we talk about when Saka and these lot are out there and they're losing, who do they look to? Maybe we'd see more of we'd put the handbrake down in relation to throwing in young players and giving young players an opportunity. But I just think Arteta's not really fond of it, because when the chips are down, you know, I don't think he includes too many of them in the squad, with the exception of Bukayo Saka, because yes, he's young and we need to take time with him, but he's almost aired that, you know, he's kind of gone past that. You know, we just look at Saka as a competent option. His age is just a wow moment. He showed us that he's a genuine option. He's not the squad. He's not a young G anymore in that sense. So I agree with the need for patience, but I just think Arteta is a bit reluctant to play young players. I'm not too sure if he's really in his heart someone that wants to blood all these young players as well, especially when you sign, you know, the Cedrics, the Williams, the David Luizes. Don't get me wrong, you need experience in your team, but do you get, especially when you're giving them lengthy contracts as well. You know, it doesn't tell me that you're going to make Maitland-Niles the fullback or whatever. You know, you've got Bellerin underperforming at 26. You've got my man 29 now, even though I think Cedric should be given a chance on Sunday. You know, you've got Willian. That's clearly blocking Reece Nelson. Again, I don't mind Willian or a body. You know, if it was a better right winger, I don't mind bringing in quality and players that are better. Up your game, or you ain't got a future here. But he's, you know, Willian is getting and wasting, better yet, with minutes that could potentially go to players who might show you a bit more. They might learn long term from it, people. I don't know. That's just me. He also said, I asked the players to take the game seriously, and you should. You're right in asking that, but these players, the way they're playing, they can't afford to take their foot off the brake anyways. So maybe that sees where our mentality is. But he said, I think they were very committed to trying to do the job, and after going 2-0 up, I think they got a bit confused. So again, if that doesn't fill me with confidence. If you say they got a bit confused and to take the game seriously, this tells me the mentality is not there. First and foremost, 2-0 is a dangerous lead. Arteta shouldn't have to tell anybody why you need to either get that third goal or shut up shop properly. So that's one red flag. The second red flag is if you've had to ask them to take it seriously. Now, if that's just you reiterating to them that, you know, I know we're already through, I know we're thinking about the Premier League, but this ain't a night off for those of you that are here, cool. But if it's what we all think and all have been seeing and questioning the mentality of our boys, it doesn't fill me with any confidence, people. You know, we got away with it. Again, it's another game. Our whole theme of the Europa League, potentially, even though it's been perfect from just looking at it from points per view, we've made it harder than it needs to be. We've potentially not kept enough clean sheets like Rapid Vienna, Dundalk, Molde, at least across the first games or one of the two games against these teams. We have made them harder. We have had to come from behind. We have conceded cheap goals. I'm not too sure for Runnison people personally, but it is what it is in that regards, people. It is what it is. I'm sure he's all right in his own selective sort of way. So yeah, people, make of that what you will. Moving away from that though, he spoke about Callum Chambers and he bigged up Callum Chambers as well. In relation to attacking football, he said it's vital for us to win. We've been inconsistent in the competitions. A really good run in the Cat Yarrow Cup, a really good run in the Europa League, but unfortunately the results in the Premier League haven't been what we want. We are very frustrated with that, and we know how important it is to put those results together really quickly because we need them straight away. There have been a lot of games, especially the ones we have played in at home, where small details have made a huge difference. But at the end of the day, we haven't scored enough goals. And without doing that, we cannot win enough football matches. It's as simple as that. And that's firmly at your feet, really and truly. You need to show something from a coaching perspective. I don't understand how in the Europa League, we're playing that lovely football, and in the Premier League, we're crossing it aimlessly. Aubameyang statistically has not scored that many headers as a professional footballer for Arsenal Football Club. It screams desperation, it screams panic. And when I see certain situations, I see you're retaining players that keep dropping points for you, like the Bellerins and Xhakas, because you haven't got faith in other players, which is concerning. And I see panic. A manager who is not panicking doesn't risk Partey's fitness. Our fans were calling for it, but in hindsight, he had more information available. You don't cross it, or at least if you cross it, like I showed you lot with the tactics board, there's movement, there's good crosses, there's people showing. There's none of that. Obviously, in the Europa League, the handbrake is off, as you lot know. The handbrake is off. We're playing inferior sides, a mixture of young players that want to impress, and the handbrake off sees us play this zip lovely football, 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, 4 touch sort of thing. But it's not consistent enough, people. It's really not. It's not consistent enough, and that's the fundamental. And that's why I'm sitting here saying, why can we do it in Europa and not the league, people? It's because of that very reason. Literally, please make sure you're hitting the like button. Please make sure you're hitting your reminders for the Arsenal versus Burnley preview. So we'll have to see what happens, people. And he also said creativity is linked to the chances that you're able to create in different positions around the box or in the final third. We are working on different aspects that we have to improve, certainly. The profile of player depends on where they play as well, and that brings you one thing or another. Depending on how they play, we will try to expose certain areas on Sunday. And we know, again, Burnley might trick us, and maybe it's worth trying something else because they're in a barren run. But I think we all can expect Burnley are going to come here, 2 banks of 4, 11 men behind the ball, be very difficult to break down. So for me, play your players that are good on the ball. Play, even Cedric. I feel Cedric's crossing is very hot and cold and very inconsistent. But same way, at least he's got a bit more delivery from Bellerin, and he can take a decent set piece. Or Maitland-Niles, who you see, he might lapse in concentration, but he likes to go forward. He likes to do things like that. Play your best players. Even though I don't think Ceballos is form, but if you're asking me out of Xhaka and Ceballos, who should partner El Nene, who is an automatic starter, I'd go with Ceballos purely because he's a bit more dynamic and he's got a bit more to him. Going forward. So again, it's a mixture of personnel, but for me, the lack of creativity is down to the coaching. It's specifically down to the coaching. Let's be real, yeah. Praise Arsene Wenger. He's had some dead players throughout the Emirates era, and he's had us playing decent football. And like I said, when you look at the efforts created and shots and goals, when you look at people above us, yeah, there's some better players and better teams, of course. But some teams you're looking at, boy, this ain't good enough, It's not good enough. So again, you can't just absolve Arteta of all blame, people, in that regards. The lack of creativity is on him and purely him, people, as well as the players needing to take responsibility. Speaking of that, though, Buendia has averaged 0.58 through balls per 90 minutes, people. He was ranked 3rd in the EPL for that, and he was in the top 3% for chance creations for midfielders across the Big Five last season. So again, chance creation is down to the player, but he also took for Buendia to create chances for this football club. He'd need to see movement. He'd need runners. He'd need several sort of things, people. It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. There's a lot more than that than just meets the eye. You've got to do a lot better in that regards. One sec, people, as I take charge of some tags. Chances. Who should I say? Mm-mm-mm. The lack of attacking play is down to Arteta's coaching. Down to Arteta. Sorry, people. There it is. That's a better. I thought that was a better title for this video. Always improving, always trying to rework. Big up the 124 people locked in. Please make sure you're hitting the like button. It doesn't cost a thing. Check out the pin tweet information for the next live stream. You know, on your way in. I know a lot of you are late arrivals. Please make sure you're hitting the like button, people. Big up DG Nation. Come on. Dilly said YouTube's been lacking on recommending these streams, but we're here. Come on, man. Where there's a will, there's a way. Frankie, I hope you're having a good Friday as well, my bro. What are you lot saying now? What are you lot saying? Bellerin shouldn't start. That's more for that's more for tomorrow, but I don't think he should start. If he puts in a performance, that's what I want to see from Bellerin tomorrow. You know, shut me up. Go and assist or have a great defensive display. What can I say as a fan? I might not think you have credentials to be at this club long term, but what can you say? Because I judge it on a game by game basis. If you was the best guy today, then I'm gonna say you was the best player, people. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. And that's what I want to see. I want to see people prove me wrong. Unfortunately, 9 times out of 10, you see a lot of nonsense. And to be fair with you, like I said, with the lack of creativity, Arsenal currently, from our 11 games this season, only the bottom 3 of Burnley, West Brom and Sheffield United have scored fewer. Whatever you say about our lack of money and all of these sort of things, come on now. That is down to the coaching, or more concerningly, lack of. You look at our attackers across all competitions this season. Balogun's got 2 goals, 1 assist in 61 minutes for Arsenal Football Club. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang in 1,016 minutes, I think that is, hopefully. My maths is poor. That's 1 assist and 3 goals. Lacazette across 820 minutes. He's got 4 goals. Eddie Nketiah's got 5 goals across 783 minutes, people. So yeah, while it looks impressive that Balogun has 2 goals, one assist in 61 appearances, maybe that tells you why potentially, you need to go somewhere. There's a pathway, if possible, if it's not here, people. As well, with that being said, as well, people, only 5 players that now have more goal involvements than Balogun this season in all competitions, which for someone that's played 61 minutes of football should not be the case, people. Arsenal have scored twice as many goals in the Europa League this season. 20 in 6 games as they have in the Premier League, where we have 10 and 11. Now, obviously, the Europa League is a bit of a jolt man group. I expect us to score a lot of goals, but all I'm asking for is that shows the direct contrast, especially when we're resting players, rotating and things. What does that tell you? It's very concerning. Positive news for those of you that like statistics. Arsenal are the first team to have 3 English players aged 21 or younger: Joe Willock, Flo Balogun, Eddie Nketiah, scoring a major UEFA European match since Spurs in 1982. I'm not going to name the Spurs players, but that's that for them. Also, Balogun is the 5th player to score in each of his first 2 away appearances for Arsenal in Europe. He's in good company. In 1978, it was Liam Brady. You've got Ian Wright in March 1994. My guy Gilberto Silva in October 2002, and he's got current teammate and fellow Hale graduate in Smith Rowe also doing that in November 2018. It's damning as well. Is it any coincidence? Again, yeah, you can talk about the opposition, but is it any coincidence? They looked like there was intent. It looked like there was some desire and whatnot. And some just downright a game plan on Thursday versus last Sunday, because if you look at it, on Sunday, 44 crosses, 0 goals. We had 33 to 36 crosses, I believe, against Wolves. 3 hit a man and 1 got an assist. Again, still not the best. But, on Thursday, is it any coincidence we had 16 crosses and we scored 4 goals, and none of those goals came from crosses, people? For those who care about statistics, Balogun now has more goal involvements under Mikel Arteta than Mesut Ozil. Eddie Nketiah has scored from 12 yards out, which is the longest distance. Well, Eddie Nketiah's goal from 12 yards out was the longest in terms of distance. That's the longest goal he's ever scored for Arsenal. So Eddie really is Arsenal's fox in a box of such, people. So, yeah. What do you think of Ozil? I think Ozil is a good footballer, but the time has passed Mesut Ozil. We need to move on. That being said, I don't think you can justify marginalizing him as a manager to this level when I haven't seen any plans to counteract the lack of creativity. Like I said earlier, and yes, Smith Rowe's been injured, but I ain't seen Smith Rowe played there. Nelson who can play there. I've seen Saka here and there. You know, I haven't seen Willian thrown in there. I didn't see a man get brought into this football club. So there's been nothing once again to fix it in-house on the coaching perspective. There's not been a man brought in, and we've not tried to bring back man in from the wild. So there's not been any contingency plans. And together with a lack of attacking style, I have to say, in terms of coaching, is it any coincidence why we're not where we need to be in terms of scoring goals, creating chances, ultimately winning football games? And obviously our improvements defensively are overstated. Yes, there's more grit and determination, but would you potentially say that based on the errors we made against Spurs, based on the goals we conceded against Leicester, based on the same against Villa, Wolves, Wolves as well, would you say that's a team that looks good defensively? So again, it's not sustainable for us to be a good defensive side. We need to reach a minimal level where we can defend, and obviously better personnel will help us. But we don't want to be known as a great defensive side. We haven't got good individuals here, so we're gonna hit a glass ceiling. You know, how good as you're hardly gonna get the best defense in Europe, no matter how much you care about defending, with the likes of David Luiz, Mustafi, etc. You know, and that's not me scapegoating them and Bellerin as well. That's the realness. You know, only if you was going to build a serious defense like winning on titles, the only two I believe can actually be part of that is Gabriel and Tierney. You know, they're the only out and out defenders at this football club I believe can say that. You know, and the rest can't. And there's 8 centre halves on the books. I'm only saying 1. You can include Balogun, David Luiz by default because he's been there, done that, wore the t-shirt. But you can see the problems that we have, people. So make of that what you will. People, please make sure you're hitting the like button and you're also checking out my pinned message for the next live stream tomorrow. Yeah, what are you lot saying? I hope you're well as well, D. Brendan, man. I hope you're all doing well and safe. I hope you're all good, man. Half an hour into it, please make sure you hit the like button. Like I said earlier, I think Miguel Aziz played very well in his little minutes. Cute little turn, you know, it's a good context to come into. Would like to see him get more. You know, I'm very impatient to see Miguel Aziz play some minutes, but I've got to remove my impatience and my belief of him with guarding against putting caution on a young player. He's got a lot to improve, but I think he's going to have a future. I think a midfield position at Arsenal is destined for him as long as he keeps developing and working hard. And the rest of it, I feel Marie played all right. You know, he's shown, even though he's not the quickest, he likes to be a bit like Koscielny, be a bit aggressive and win it in front. He tries to play football. I felt not just him, but a couple of players could have done better. Well, we all could have done better on both goals, but I feel the first one, it was too easy for Marie. So yeah, man. Big up yourself, Antonio. Keep up all the hard work and you will surely achieve all your goals in due time. Thank you very much, Antonio. I hope that really is the case. The Arsenal dream in true fashion seems to be dreaming. Arsenal, Adidas, Paul Pogba. Watch this space. I would love Paul Pogba at this football club, but myth. I wouldn't mind that. I know many people will say 2 left footers, it's a bit weird, but they never say it about right footers. I don't mind it. You know, Marie spent time in Portugal, spent time in Brazil, so he should be able to speak Portuguese. Obviously, Gabriel is from there, so there's that. Obviously, one's 25 and one's 25, 26 and one's 22, so you can have an experienced man with a kind of young man. It wouldn't be my first choice, but I wouldn't exactly be against it. Truthfully, I don't know Paulo Marie's true level, really, to be saying this, that, and the third. I ain't seen too much from him. I really appreciate you, members. Big up yourself, man. I hope you're all good. Hakai. Big up yourself, Antonio. See all of you. Christy has said hi. Hope you're good, man. If Saliba ain't going to be the guy, I don't really like Dene. I don't really believe in Dene's credentials. I think Saliba's going to be the guy, but they need to make a decision on him and his development and make the right decisions towards making him a good footballer. It's not going to happen if you keep messing the poor young lad about at all. You're not gonna get it, are you? I'm sure a lot of you have seen Shabozla has rejected us. I'm trying to see if there's any Arsenal news. There isn't any Arsenal news at all, people. You know, it seems to be we're going after Buendia just that bit more. So we'll have to see what happens. I'm seeing Miguel Aziz labeled the next Iniesta on some clickbait things. Just let the man develop, man. It's ridiculous. I'm good, my guy. You'd have to ask him, man. You'd have to ask him sooner than you expect, man. Sooner than you expect. Go and spam off his thing. You know, big up Hugh, man, for bringing me on. Again, hit him up. See, go handle that meeting, man. No worries. Go and control that meeting. Go and get your bread. Go and go to the job that pays you. Go and make your bread. It doesn't matter. What's going on with YouTube keeps closing the stream for me. I hope that's just a personal problem and not a proper problem for everybody. Hopefully that's not an issue, but I hope you get that resolved. There's actually nothing to speak about in relation to Arsenal, people. Like, there's actually nothing. Like I said, we're going to speak about Burnley tomorrow. So let's take some questions, man. We've got someone saying Chelsea in the group in the chat, which is quite childish, but you do what you got to do. I mean, I personally want to spend my Fridays doing better things, but you know, if that gets you your kick, do what you need to do, you weirdo. To be fair, I wouldn't mind if Saliba, if Chambers gets a chance. You know, he was taking his chances when fit. Unfortunately, you know, he got injured and he starts again from zero. Big up yourself, people. Deluded. If United get Poch with his current squad, where do they finish? Not a clue. I think I don't know. Ollie got top 4 somehow. So again, Poch would have to do that. I honestly don't know, my guy. I really don't know. I don't have a clue. I mean, you know, nobody looks like they're playing in the form to deserve to start, but Aubameyang is someone that starts for me personally. Thoughts on levels, EL? What? Thank you very much for your positive messages. But thoughts on levels, EL group stage? I'm not too sure what that means, man. I'm Arsenal. You know, it's looking a bit concerning what Arteta is doing right now. I'm going to retain faith in him. When I lose all confidence in him, then you'll be the first to know. But I'm Arsenal. I don't really care for Arteta in or out. There is concerns, but it is what it is. Hey man, I'm trying to get 30k, man. I don't know if I'll be able to do it, but we'll keep going, man. We keep pushing. We keep thriving. Partey and Torreira plus and a creative option problem solved. Yes, you know, but I think you have them two. You get a couple of modern day number 8s. You've got 4 decent real options really there, and you could probably have a 5 man midfield. You know, 5 quality midfielders. Have someone part of the squad. I believe it's Monday. So we'll have to see. And for those of you who don't know, I can list the group state, the potential people we could play as we move on from the group stages of the Europa League, people. 1 second. Yeah, so Arsenal in the last 32, we could potentially play Krasnodar. We could potentially play Salzburg, and I would want to play them for not selling us what's his face, man, Szoboszlai. You know, Dynamo Kiev, a trip to Ukraine, Olympiacos. Again, they knocked us out last year. Young Boys, Slavia Prague. Don't want to go to Benfica. Don't mind Granada, but again, they're deceivingly good. Sociedad love a draw, but they've been in good form domestically. Don't really want to buck them. Braga's a bit like Benfica for me. I'm not trying to play in Portugal. Them guys there have it in for us. Leo, Gabriel potentially want to go back for sentimental reasons. The best option for me would either be to go to Royal Antwerp in Belgium or Tel Aviv, which would mean Israel. You've got Wolfsburg at AC, and you've got Red Star Belgrade, who we've played before. Come on, man. Hopefully I can get to 100k one day. We keep working. We keep striving, man. Christian has said, did you see the video about Perez? Yes, I did. And on one hand, I don't think we should just bring through people for the sake of bringing them through, you know, or bringing them back just because they're a legend. What are you going to do, you know? Because it's not going to help you just standing around, you know. Sooner or later, the novelty wears off. What I want to see is people like at Bayern Munich. You've got financial advisors, sporting directors, whatever that might have played for Bayern Munich, but they're also good in a role. But I do want to see Perez. You know, Perez has tried to offer himself and they're not having it. I don't really see, if I was a player coming into Arsenal, a young player coming through the academy or brought in from abroad, beyond what I might see on YouTube or the fancy, well put together videos, I don't see on a day-to-day basis what it means to play for Arsenal Football Club, you know, and you see it elsewhere. You know, Chelsea, you've got Peter Cech out of nowhere now, you know. He was a bit of an agent for a couple of years. You know, Bayern Munich, the best example. I'm not saying we're Bayern Munich's levels, but we have to do that, man. That would be good, man. That would be good for them. That would be great. Big up you lot, man. Please make sure you're hitting the like button. Would you like to see Maitland-Niles included more in the starting 11? Yes, either at left back or in midfield, for sure. I'm not too sure if there's a recall clause, and I don't think he would explore that because I think Guendouzi and Arteta have burned each other's bridges. I don't think it's about ability with Guendouzi. I just think they've both lost trust in each other. The relationship is beyond repair, and we're hoping that this loan at Hertha Berlin, being a young player in a small squad, can help him stand out to the point where we can make a profit on him. I think it's the end of Guendouzi at Arsenal. I want to be wrong. I'm one of his biggest fans. I think you're looking at, like you said, he's a ball character. And for me, the mentality, don't see too many people that get it currently in the first team now. He isn't. And to be fair, he isn't playing at Atletico. You're allowed to think Arteta out if you want him to, and people are down to believe in him if they want to as well. It's just down to Arteta to either prove you wrong or prove him right. Either way, just want to move on, man. Just want to win titles and whatnot. Come on, man. Let's get this to 150k. Man, I would love to be 150k. Let's get this to 150 likes. Apologies. I share with you, David. For me, him or Maitland-Niles over Bellerin, no arguments. But we all know Bellerin is going to start and whatnot. They're not legends. That's why there's no allegiances to them, man. One sec, my dude. In relation to those links, I wouldn't mind Allegri, but I'm at the point now where it don't really matter if you get another young man like Arteta, an experienced pair of hands like Allegri. We're going to say the same things because those at the top. Those at the top, because as much as I get onto someone like Edu and say you're not helping Arteta, how much, is Kroenke a part? Well, Kroenke is the problem, but as much as I feel Edu should adapt and get us players, it's difficult when you're here for me to just sit here and blame him when I'm hearing that we're having to beg for 45 million for Partey, and as much as I feel Edu needs to have blame on one hand, and I was thinking about this more today off air, really, Edu was a midfielder. Arteta was a midfielder. Edu was there when we was winning stuff. So they must know what it takes. So they must feel a bit powerless and crippled in that regards, especially when, and this is why I think football should be a bit more open, because I think at fans, we can only comment what we see. Imagine we find out Edu's been trying to do things and it's just the Kroenkes and Arteta did this and that. This is why they should be more open, not tell us everything, but did you get it? Because on one hand, I think Edu is out of his depth. But on the other hand, what if Arteta said, get our, Edu's co-signed it and started talking to Leon, and then, Kroenke's moving a bit mad with the P's. I think this, whatever I say about Edu and the manager and the players, there's all been different ones in the last few years. The one variable is the man at the top, and he's responsible for the culture. So I would entertain Allegri if Arteta went, but Allegri, it wouldn't end well, because, why would you want to stay? You just want to bust out, man. Same. And to be fair, when I look at our backroom staff, they are fairly advised. I mean, experienced and well advised. So I have to wonder: are they creditable? Are they being yes men? The same things we said under Arsene Wenger. I don't think. I don't know the specifics, but I'd imagine on neither. I think they're both going to play the whole duration of the season there. So make of that what you will. If he gets sacked, who knows, man? I'd more want a young trainer coach, maybe with experience, maybe like Nagusman or something, see what we can do. I just want someone that can evidently show me a system. Even though I think people praise Nagusman to high heavens sometimes unnecessarily. Right, boy, Tabs, apologies, man. Hopefully you set up what you need to set up and you handle your business. It'll be a shame to miss you, man, but see you next year, my G. The board is slacking 100%, 100%, 100%. I don't know who's disliking, but people make sure you lot overdo it. The dislikers can't win if you lot all hit the like button. It doesn't take a thing, man. I don't know, and you have to question why. Maybe it's because Atletico are in good form. Maybe, Torreira's still adapting. Maybe there's something Torreira's not doing. I don't know if it's adapting, because, I mean, yeah, you have to adapt to your teammates and the way of life in Spain. But he was, talking to high heavens about how he feels more comfortable and the rest of it. So we'll have to see, man. I feel that as well, David. I do think he's making it slightly more harder than it needs to be. How do you become a mod? Please comment at the end of this video so I can copy and paste your URL. But I'm going to I've just written down your username, so I'll try and pull it in manually. So, yeah, people, man. He will learn a lot. And Torreira, that's a great system for him. That's the best system for him, You see, Simeone reflects the player that, the sort of his personality on the bench being manager reflects Torreira. I think that's a better fit than Arsenal, really and truly. So I think he's calm, man. Nah, man. Shout out to Torreira. I would have liked him to stay, man. They are on a run, and it's just down to him to build himself back into the team, people, really and truly. Couple more questions, and I'm going to keep it moving, people. I can't lie, I'm getting quite tired. So let's get a couple questions in. And there isn't anything more to say. I'm never going to be that guy who's just going to keep you lot here for no reason. Get some questions in, people. I don't think it was a mistake at all. I just think what the mistake is not doing everything in your power to help him, because we knew he's going to make mistakes. We knew there was things he knew he wouldn't know. So I don't think, as much as I criticize Arteta at times, I don't think he's been equipped with everything. I don't think Maitland-Niles jumps out of tackles. I do think he gets caught lacking and not concentrating. But at the same time, I'd rather Maitland-Niles than Bellerin, whether they're both my cup of tea or not. Like you said, we can't just depend on one singular pillar of creativity. We need to breed creativity throughout the squad. Emma said, if worse comes to worse and we don't sign a creative midfielder, I don't think they will, because I don't think the club care. I think they logically should. Logic suggests to do that, but I just don't think they would. I think them bridges have burnt. No, really, there's too many things to worry about at Arsenal to be worrying about what next man's clubs are doing, to be brutally honest, my guy. Really. And I like Poch, and you know me, I'm not the most tribal of fans. I don't do all of this stuff. It is what it is, isn't it? No clue, but we need to bring in a creative midfielder, and the Szoboszlai one's gone out of the thingy. Well, based on where we're looking at, we're looking like we're coming, very, very much outside the top four, and even the position we finished in last season, we're probably looking like we might not get that if we don't get a move on, people. You're always in the streams. I don't necessarily see you, but I'm going to take your word. Please comment at the end of this stream. And I agree with that, Marvick, but I'd go a step further to say, play for yourselves. That's what I agree wholeheartedly. I don't think the players play for themselves, I want them to play for the badge. They should play for the fans, the managers, and the badge, and mainly the badge. But I think they've got to play for themselves, You've got to play for yourself. If you can't play for yourself as a human being, how are you going to play for next man, a club that you didn't brat, that's not your, it's not your family's, you didn't grow up in it, if you don't play for yourself, that's all a myth, I don't mind that as well, man. I don't even buy all the things where people say, it will give us one game a week, will help us focus. I'm just tired of the Europa League thing, man. Like, might as well, man. But yeah, man. Last question. Do you think bringing in Eddie Howe would be a good option should Arteta fail? Well, he's of a similar ilk in that, he's young. There's a bit more to him. But I'm not going to sit here and say I'd be happy with Eddie Howe, admittedly. I'd love to be proven wrong. I'd love to come back and say I'm tweaking, but I'm not convinced in him really and truly in that regards. Big up Tailwood Studios for becoming a YouTube member, and I appreciate you. Everybody else, go and check that out as well. Please make sure you're hitting the like button. Tailwood, I really appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. David, last question. You said looking at Burnley, it should be 3 points. If we were to lose, what would your thoughts be on Arteta? Nothing is going to change in terms of my thoughts on Arteta and the players if we lose. I'm just going to sit here and say the same things I've said across this live stream. I've said across previous live streams and so on. And I don't think it should be 3 points. The way we're playing, there's nothing should. We need to go out there and earn it. I'm not saying that you're saying anything different, but it is what it is. With that, though, I can't lie, people. There's nothing more for me to say, and I want you lot to all go and enjoy your Fridays, really and truly, man. So big up yourself. I love all you members in the building, but I'm gonna have to love you and leave you. I'll be back. Make sure you check out the pin message. We go again tomorrow. We'll speak about Arsenal versus Burnley. Big up all my Trinidad people. Then big up the whole of DG Nation across everywhere in this beautiful earth, people. But I'm gonna love you and leave you. There's hella content for you lot. I know you ain't checked it all out, so there's something for you if you're looking for more of DG this Friday. But if not, I'm out, man. Thank you very much. Please hit the like button on your way out. Please do not forget to hit the reminder of the next live stream, which is tomorrow. Take care, people. Happy Friday.